Hi, welcome to another edition of the weekly news Roundup. I'm Vida and these are your headlines. Hun Sen offers lawyer to aid journalists. Lawyer argue Kem Club building owner should not have been charged. Kem Sokha treason trial begins after more than 2 years. Plans for new Kokong airport unveiled. Cambodia Security Exchange expected to almost double its listing in 2020. We start with national. Sometimes professional journalists are threatened by lawsuit due to the story they report. Prime Minister Hun Sen acknowledges this, and earlier this week he promised to provide lawyers to help journalists duke it out in court. Speaking to about 5,000 journalists during an annual dinner on Kokpik Island, Mr. Hun Sen said he will assign lawyer Kitek to assist those facing court complaints. He said, quote, "I agree to provide my personal lawyers in cases involving journalists who practice professionalism. I am concerned that there are some journalists who are not trained and do not work for media companies, such as those who use bad words to criticize individuals on Facebook."
ដើម្បីរក្សានៅតម្លៃសេចក្តីថ្លៃថ្នូរនិងការជឿជាក់ខ្ញុំសូមដាក់ចេញនៅពាក្យស្លោកអ្នកសារព័ត៌មានកុំបំពានសិទ្ធិអ្នកដទៃកុំបំភ្លៃការពិតនេះជាពាក្យស្លោកខ្ញុំមិនបារម្ភទេអំពីស្ថាប័នព័ត៌មានធំជាវិទ្យុជាទូរទស្សន៍ជាអនឡាញដែលមានចរិតដែលខ្ញុំស្គាល់មិនអស់ទេក៏ប៉ុន្តែហើយណាស់ខ្ញុំរាប់បាន4
Mr. Hun Sen then urged journalists to watch over government performance and policy. He added, quote, "A journalist must be the bridge between the government and the people. Not all government policies are effective, so that is why we need journalists to follow up on issues." Towards the end of his speech, Mr. Hun Sen said he wishes to become a mentor to journalists after he retires from politics. He then called on journalists to contribute towards peace and stability by countering fake news. He also called on government officials to speak with journalists rather than using the excuse of not divulging information due to national security. Speaking of lawyers, the attorney representing Aitsarun and Chilsuti, owners of the Club Kem building charged, is arguing his client should not have been indicted because they did nothing wrong. Earlier this month, a 7-story hotel under construction in Kem province collapsed, killing 36 people, including builders and their families. It resulted in Sarun and Suthi, both owners, being accused of manslaughter for the collapse. Their case is currently being handled by Kampot Provincial Court as Kem does not have one yet. However, Kung Samon, their lawyer, accused the married couple did nothing wrong. He said, quote, "There are 2 approvals for the constructions of this building. First, it was verbal approval, and second, the written approval. If the local authorities did not allow them, how could they start the construction? It is not their mistake because they already received verbal approval. It is an administrative matter." Mr. Samon said the contractor who died along with his family in the collapse is to blame because his clients handed the project to the contractor.
ក៏ប៉ុន្តែករណីគាត់រកមេការជាងអ្នកទទួលខុសត្រូវដើម្បីជាអ្នកទទួលខុសត្រូវអញ្ចឹងបែរថាគេអ្នកទទួលខុសត្រូវទៅលើបច្ចេកទេសគាត់គ្រាន់តែបញ្ហាមួយគឺគាត់ទិញសម្ភារៈឲ្យគេតែគេត្រូវការអីគាត់ទិញនឹងឲ្យគេត្រូវការស៊ីម៉ងគាត់ពាក់តូបខាងស៊ីម៉ងបច្ចេកទេសខាងស៊ីម៉ងឧទាហរណ៍ថាស៊ីម៉ងហ្នឹងសួរថាវាគ្រប់ស្តង់ដារត្រឹមត្រូវអត់តែគាត់មិនដឹង
Former CNRP leader Kem Sokha treason trial began at the Phnom Penh Municipal Court earlier this week, more than 2 years after his arrest. The court alleged he colluded with the United States to topple the government. Sokha and his team of lawyers arrived at the Phnom Penh Municipal Court at about 7:30 a.m. on Wednesday. Journalists were not allowed to enter the court compound and had to stand across the street opposite the court. Hundreds of security personnel were deployed around the courthouse to ensure public order. About 100 supporters of Sokha stood across the street. After the morning session, Sokha on Facebook reiterated his innocence. He said, quote, "I continue to demand that the court permanently drop the charge against me so that I can fully exercise my political freedom in serving and defending the interests of the country and the people. I categorically deny the charge of conspiracy with foreign powers which was brought against me." Sokha was apprehended in September 2017. 2 months later, the CNRP was dissolved by the Supreme Court. He spent a year behind bars on treason charges in Trapang Plong prison over comments made in 2013 video, in which he said the US had been helping him push for regime change. Before we move on to business, I want to ask you to hit the like button if you've been enjoying our program, as it helps a lot. Be sure to share video with friends and if you think they can learn something from what we are doing. And now, business. The kingdom's economic growth has been impressive due to its steady 7% average rate. To accommodate this, infrastructure development plays a major role. According to the Council of Ministers, the government is now diverting investment into a new airport in Kokong province. According to a statement by the council published on Monday, Lee Yong-pat Group and Bangkok Airways will spearhead a joint venture into the airport. Sanchan Siraivata, spokesman for the State Secretariat of Civil Aviation, said the plan was originally to revamp an old airport location in Khmer City, but it would have been too expensive. Mr. Siraivata said high price of land surrounding the old airport and compensation for social impacts are the main factors. He said, quote, at the new location, the investment companies may want to have space for bigger land than at the old airport location, not only for the airport but also building hubs of commercial and industries, because investors want to link with transport. He said a master plan will be taken in the next step. The specific cost for the new location was not unveiled. But according to investment at the old airport, the joint venture would cost approximately $40 million. At least 7 firms have confirmed they will be listed on the local bourse this year, almost doubling the current company listed at 8. All this according to the Cambodian Securities Exchange. CSX cited it expects this rapid influx to draw more attention from the public to the country's security market. Of the 7 firms, 4 will be equity and there will be bond issue, said CSX senior official at a news conference earlier this week. This year, the CSX is expected to welcome more listings, both for equity and debt, said Ha Jong-won, market strategist of Chief Operating Officer at the CSX. He said, quote, there will be more companies interested in the market because of a number of reasons. Listing will provide the required capital, government tax incentive, and competitive landscape. 2 of the expected 7 firms will be small and medium enterprise, a trend that Kem Sokha, CSX CEO, expects to increase this year. Since 2012, when the CSX established, at least $161 million worth of capital has been mobilized in the local bourse. That is all for this week. I'm Vida on behalf of the team. Have a good weekend.